All right. Well, hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Heromakers Podcast. We are now kind of officially in October. And you were telling me something really exciting before we hopped on. So what were you telling me? You were showing me something too.
I was showing you my juice. I went to a place that has apples, and so they took my money. I got like apple cider donuts.
Love those.
And like fresh apples. So it was delicious.
Yeah. Okay. So we actually tried to make apple cider donuts one time, and boy, they just flopped over on me. Like, this isn't art. Making donuts is like a real art. So I'm jealous because you're sitting there, you have your goblet and you're drinking away.
I'm sorry, but you definitely practice on those donuts.
I do. Yeah. So, Ann, I'm very excited about our guest today, Pauline Avila. And Pauline, this is so I have to tell you before we get started. So in our household, we have two kids, right? And they're 8 and 6, about to be 7 and 9. And so last year we got into this amazing show called American Ninja Warrior. Now, I know that it's been around for 12 years, right?
Yeah.
Pauline is on 12 seasons.
This is the 12th season was this year.
The 12th season. Okay, so we just got into it last year and we binged four seasons in 2 weeks. We were on this crazy streak of watching it. So yesterday, Pauline, I have to tell you this, and I'll just a quick for you guys who are listening. So Pauline was on American Ninja Warrior. So this is actually how I first became aware of Pauline. Was a few weeks ago when we were watching, and I saw her story and I'm just sobbing. And but so Pauline, so yesterday my son actually started taking ninja classes at the Ultimate Ninja up here in the Chicago area.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was so fun. So my little son, who's going to be 7 tomorrow, so he's running up the warped wall. And he, on his third turn, he actually got the 8-foot warped wall. So Ann, do you know about the warped wall? Have you seen it?
I think I might have done it.
Oh.
I was doing the Tough Mudder race. And so you're actually muddy and then you have to run up a wall. But thank goodness there's people at the top who I had help. So people at the top grabbed my arms and yanked me over.
They're pulling you up.
High enough up on the wall. So I actually slid down a few times and then I made it. Is that what we're talking about?
That's what we're talking about. Yeah. And so for those of you not familiar with American Ninja Warrior, it's a great show on NBC, and so there's a bunch of athletes who do incredible things, right? Like super strong. They're swinging. They're kind of like real life monkeys. I don't know. So but Pauline was on. You were on maybe 3 weeks ago or so, and right? Is that right?
Yes, I believe so. Around 3 weeks ago.
And so Pauline, you're also married to another ninja warrior.
Oh.
And so before you went on, they have they tell a little bit about the people who are going up to compete. And so Pauline, they had your story about you being an ICU nurse during this COVID time. And so, like I said, I was just crying. And so I reached out to you and I was like, I just really want our listeners to hear more about you and your story and kind of what's that like. So we'll talk about being a ninja, but I want to talk about you being a nurse and just incredible right now. So sorry. So Pauline, that was a really long introduction, but just because I'm so excited about American Ninja Warrior, but I'm more excited to hear about what you do every day in and out and just the amazing work you're doing. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Pauline, where you're at, where you grew up, and kind of what you do now.
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Pauline. I was born in the Philippines. I came here to the US when I was 6. I'm originally from New Jersey. I lived there my whole life, and we moved to a town right near Houston about 7 years ago. So this is where I am right now. I work in Houston at Houston Methodist Hospital, and I currently work in a medical ICU, and I've been there for almost 7 years now.
So how did you know that you wanted to be an ICU nurse? So like, what's that journey like? Like, do you know you want to be an ICU nurse, or is it like you try different things out and then you kind of settle on something?
Yeah, so when you're in nursing school, you go through different rotations. You go through a regular floor, you go through maternity, pediatrics, and then you also go through like a critical care unit. Really my reasoning, my mom is an ICU nurse, so I know, what she goes through on a daily basis. And I don't know, it just seemed really interesting to me, just helping. And I wanted to just really help like really sick individuals. Most of our patients are critically ill, they're in a ventilator, and, and that's what what led me to become an ICU nurse, really through my mom, because she was an ICU nurse also.
Interesting. So do you still talk to your mom? Is she?
Oh yeah. Actually, the reason why we moved to Sugar Land is my parents live 10 minutes away from us. So
nice. Yeah.
They live very close to us, and my mom and I actually work in the same hospital. She works in a different ICU unit.
Okay.
Wow.
Do you ever have like the same shift that you're on, so you guys can have lunch together? Or?
So I work the day shift, and my mom works the night shift. She's worked the night shift for probably like 30 years. So she's always done a night shift. I can never do night shift. I'm a morning person. So I work the day shift. And so we don't really see each other at work, but we see each other almost every day though. So
okay. So tell us a little bit about like what it's like to be an ICU nurse. Did it take you time just to kind of get used to that, like that intensity of working with people who have like, very critical illnesses, or was it like, or was it just something that you were like naturally like, this comes natural to me? And
I honestly, I don't know if it really comes like that naturally to anyone. It's very different than just working a regular floor. We have a longer orientation, I would say. And to be honest, I know when I first started, I worked in just a community hospital in New Jersey. And my first shift, I was very, very nervous, and I was, stressed out. I didn't sleep for a whole month. I remember that. Just being nervous, just, thinking, what if I do something wrong, or if I know how to do something. But, there's always other, the coworkers are great. You could always ask a question to anyone, and they're always there to help you. So it helped being, like a young nurse, a newly grad nurse, and being in an ICU setting. But I've always been an ICU nurse. I can't imagine myself being in a different unit or anything like that. So I've been a nurse for almost 11 years now, and so it's been an experience.
Yeah. So one of the things that I like, since COVID, back in March or something, but when it started, since then I've seen signs, a lot of signs pop up, right? Like heroes work here, right? Those kind of signs in front of hospitals and healthcare facilities and stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is great. And I wish it would have happened sooner. I'm like, why did it take this kind of crisis for people to I think really see people who are working sacrificially? So tell us like what the difference between like maybe a normal day for you before COVID-19 and then now, or the difference between spring and now. I don't even know if it's changed like in the past 6 months.
Yeah. So our unit became the first designated unit actually to open up as a COVID unit in the whole entire system. I work in a very, very large hospital, and there's about like 6 other ones surrounding around the cities around Houston. And so our unit was the first one to open up. So, I mean, the world of emotions when they're told us like, oh, you're going to be you're going to get COVID patients in the next week, or we're just like, oh my gosh. We're nervous, scared, and just, because it was very new at the time. It still is kind of new now, but just real nervous about what to expect really. And so before COVID, I mean, we just, go to work. We would have some isolation patients, but you wear a gown, and that's pretty much it, and a mask sometimes if they're in a respiratory isolation, and that's it. You go there, and then you come home. Now with COVID, you go in, and for me, we wear like a surgical cap to cover our hair. We wear a mask, an N95 one also, and we wear a gown, shoe covers, and this, all the protective gear that we have to put on, the face shield and everything. And before I come home, I actually take a shower at work, and that's something I never used to do before. And so in the beginning, I did wear a mask literally 24 hours a day. Like when I was working, and then when I came home, I wore a mask just because I was so scared to think that, I would spread it to my family just in case if I ever contracted it. So I wore a mask literally every time when I was home. I even sat in a separate couch and slept in a guest bedroom and did all that for at least a month and a half. And as time went by, it's just so hard, just not physically, but mentally and emotionally draining. And as time went by, it's been 6-7 months now since, beginning and since March, since we first started taking care of them. And thankfully I've tested positive. I've tested numerous, I don't know how many, I can't even count anymore how many times I've gotten tested. So I've been negative every time. And then, so I know I'm doing something right. And so it's hard to just every day, to just wear a mask all day. So, I'm here, I'm interacting more. Just everyday life, can kind of continue, not really the same as before, but, as much as possible.
Well, man, so since you're on the front lines and most of us just aren't, and there's so much misinformation that's going around about COVID, what can you tell us that you want people to know about this virus?
Yeah, it really, I'm glad you said that, because, it's different for somebody being frontline, seeing it in person and being, engulfed in it, as to even my my husband, who's, not in the healthcare field and knows really nothing much about it other than what I tell him and what he hears in the news and things like that. And, I know this, and I'm a big, advocate for, wearing a mask and, trying to be as far apart as possible. And to this day, we get takeout, but I haven't sat in a restaurant. I'm just more trying to get away from it all, even though I'm in it all the time. But, just, it's to spread awareness, COVID's still here. It hasn't gone away. It's still here. And, for the most part, yes, you have it and you might not show symptoms, or you might not get really sick from it, but you don't know that. And that's the takeaway from it. You don't know who's going to get, have zero symptoms, or who's going to be in the hospital for weeks to months. We really don't know. And, but for the most part, yes, you probably are going to get through it, but you don't know that. And you don't know if you have, you're asymptomatic, who you might spread it to, somebody who's immunocompromised or whatnot. So, yeah.
So I'm interested that, for Ann and I, right? So we're not on the front lines there. And so we're just like, oh, you guys are amazing for going in and, kind of being on the front lines and fighting this. And I'm wondering is there any fear that, you kind of have to fight when you go in, in terms of, you contracting it, or as you're dealing with patients? Okay. So here's what comes to my mind is that as a nurse, ICU nurse in particular, I am going to guess that you have to have a high level of empathy for the patients that you care for. And so I'm curious about you kind of being in that front line and the emotions that kind of creep up. What is the most powerful emotion or most powerful action that you have seen or you have worked with a patient on? Is it empathy? Is that the one that, is it hope? Just kind of the ability to offer people hope, or what is it that kind of stands out to you?
Well, especially too with COVID, beforehand and then afterwards, all that, it's really, you know, with patients when their families are not, you know, are not allowed to be there. Sorry, my kids, my little one right there. I'm sorry.
It's great.
Really, so, you know, with COVID now, you know, families are not allowed to be there with the patients. It's that's what's really tough about it, you know. Just seeing them alone and just, you know, having them just communicating with their families only through an iPad. And if they're not able to talk, or if they do have a phone in the room and they're able to communicate, then yes, they can do that. But, you know, essentially we're the ones there with them most of the day and night. And so I know it's hard, you know, for them, but seeing that though, you know, seeing the families speak to them and grieving, and it's hard. It's hard to you know, to take that in. And, you know, you're thankful yourself. I'm thankful for, you know, I can go home to my family every day, you know, that I can just, from here, I'm going to go home and see my family. And because a lot of them can't.
Is there one story that stands out to you in particular of that was really touching to you in terms of like families communicating on the iPad? I don't even know if I can ask this or if it's like a privacy, if there's confidentiality, but is there any stories that stand out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it even in the show and even before, but yeah, one of the very few months ago, or just in the beginning, actually, we had a very young patient. She was in her 20s and she was in a ventilator. She couldn't talk, but she was also sedated. So she wasn't fully aware, but she was able, but not so much sedated where she couldn't hear you, or, you know, even voice, like, you know, like make, you know, mouth some words. So I was in there with her, and, you know, she grabbed my hand. And she looked at me, and oh my gosh, and she literally had tears in her eyes, and and that just, oh my gosh, that just like broke me down. And she mouthed, she was like, I'm scared. And you know, I was holding her, and I just told her, it's gonna be okay, you're gonna get through this. You know, you're gonna see your family. They you know, they called, and they just want to know how you're doing, and, you know, they're here for you, and we're all here for you, and you're gonna get through this, and you're gonna get out of here. And just things like that, you know. And it's tough, and thankfully she got extubated, and she was discharged from our unit, and she did well. So but things just like that. And
so not only are you trying to manage your own emotions, but you're also trying to really be there and emotionally helpful and supportive to your patients. So then, like, how do you do that? Is there any, like, have you had to dig really deep, or have you, like, have enough emotional you know, support?
Yeah, I think also it comes from the strength from, you know, everybody, because it's not, I know I'm not the only one going through this myself. And, you know, my coworkers have been so amazing, and we're going through all this together. And I work with a really great, you know, a team of just, you know, doctors, nurses, and respiratory therapists and PCAs. So, you know, we're all there together, and, you know, we cry together, we laugh together, and it's, you know, it's just great teamwork. And so that helps a lot.
So we here on the Hero Making Podcast, we talk about like these 9 different hero traits that we have. And so, some of them are like kind of the traditional ones, like suffering well, courage, sacrifice. And then there's these other ones: humility, empathy, grit. So it's like keep moving forward. And I'm interested for you know, with you, like, who, when you hear the term hero, like who comes to mind for you, and why?
I think for me, as I mentioned before, my mom was a nurse, and as ICU nurse also. And I think for me, my mom would be my who I think of as a hero. She worked extremely hard. You know, I remember her when growing up, when I was little, she had 3 jobs, and it would be some days where she worked 2 weeks straight in a row. And I know she did that to provide for the best for the family. And, you know, she's really hardworking. And I think that's where where my ability for my hard work and where it comes from, and wanting to persevere. And so for me, it would be my mom, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about American Ninja Warrior, because that it, you know, what stood out to me, like, as I watched you on that, was just like the courage too to go on the show and to do that. And part of your story was, I remember you talking about like being in isolation from your family, and you know, and then you were on, and so talk to us about like even the training that went in. Like, were you able to do any training going into American Ninja Warrior?
Yeah.
Like your hubby's like, and then tell us about kind of your husband bringing you on, because that's like, I think, a great story too.
Yeah. So honestly, I haven't really trained for American Ninja Warrior. Ninja Warrior is a different type of training, really. It's like, you know, you work with obstacles, just a lot of grip training and grip strength. And I honestly haven't really trained for that in like a year. I mean, I work out, you know, on a daily, I work out pretty regularly, but not that type of training. So, I didn't even know American Ninja Warrior was even going to happen this year due to COVID and everything. And so, the call was unexpected, honestly. I didn't think I was even going to get a call, but they called me and they asked me, you know, we'd like for you to be on the show. Mm-hmm. And so it really was a hard decision, honestly. We filmed in July, and at that time, I think Texas was like at the epicenter of like the COVID right now. You know, really, really busy. You know, my schedule was already, I was already scheduled to work those days. And so I didn't know if I was going to be able to leave for a few days also. So, but then you know what, I was like, I decided to, my husband was like, you know what, whatever the decision is, that, you know, I'm going to support it. If you want to come on or not, it's fine. Whatever it is that you want to do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It happens over here too.
Oh my God. Life. Yeah, exactly. And so, where was I? So I decided to. I actually did. I was able to switch my schedule around with my coworker, and I decided to go on and do it. And so it was only a few weeks before, actually. I think it was like 3 weeks beforehand that they told me that, oh, we're going to film. We're gonna fly out in a couple of weeks. So I didn't really have much time to train. Yeah. But I was, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna just give it my all. I'm gonna do whatever best I can do, and you know, see what happens. So, and I'm happy I did it. I'm excited. I was able to be, you know, to go alongside my husband as well. And you know, he's amazing. He's he inspires me also. My kids inspire me. My husband inspires me to, you know, be the best I can be. And I'm just really excited I was able to do it.
Yeah.
So did I understand that your husband did it as well? No way.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so my husband actually competed on it since, I believe this is his 4th year. He's been on the show 4 years ago, and then every year since then he's been on the show. And Christian, I'm sorry. He competed since I believe 2016 was his first year, and his name is Big Dog Ninja. Actually, that's what the one of the hosts of the show named him that, gave him that name. And we're the complete opposite. I'm 4'10" and he's 6'6", so that's where his name is, Big Dog Ninja. And but he's great. He did really, really well the first episode, and then he'll be on it again next week. So the next episode be on again.
We have to have definitely in the show link in the bio, we have to have like the link to watch your show, because I haven't actually watched it, so I'm sorry about that. But I'm impressed. And can I just
okay. I won't be on again. That was the first episode. It was a season premiere. I was on it then, but I believe they have reruns, or you can even do NBC app.
Or Amazon. That's how we watch it.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a Canadian, so I don't know how to do that, but I'll figure it out. Okay. I have another question.
Yeah.
You mentioned your height. I'm 5'0", so I mean,
yay.
I mean, yay for tiny Asian women. But how do you do it? Because you not only have, like, obviously you need to have the strength. you obviously need to have like a strategy, but then you have height. Like,
yes, that was actually my disadvantage. Even going the first obstacle, even, I mean, it's steps, but and I mean, you're this water all around you, right? And it's the ascending steps, and they're, it's for normal people, it's probably not as far as steps that they have to like jump on or run through. But for me, I said I'm 4'10". I wasn't even sure if I was even gonna make that first obstacle, honestly.
Yeah.
And so and to get through it, I was like, oh, really? So I'm like, yes, thank God, I got through it. And then that's what actually was my downfall for the second obstacle. I went to go jump for that bar, and I just wasn't tall enough. I couldn't reach it. I think my fingertips grazed it, and I wasn't able to fully hang on to it. So, yeah. But it's what happened. So I'm okay with it. I can't change my height. So
I love this because Pauline, I'm only 5'1". And so I feel like, wow, this is like, I'm with sisters right now. I'm like, this is all right. So this is interesting to me, Pauline, because I've noticed that on the show they tell another number of stories of people who have overcome obstacles with like giving, donating the kidney, mm-hmm. and people who have had cancer or who have lost a loved one. Mm-hmm. And so it seems like for a number of these ninjas, they've turned to their training to help them become stronger. So I'm wondering, from your perspective, what you've noticed, maybe with your husband or with others, like how important is it to have, when people are going through obstacles, to have something that kind of reminds them, I'm strong, I could persevere, I could keep going.
Yeah. So, with American Ninja Warrior, I think that's what, I love about it is the community aspect of it. And, how you talked about overcoming, adversities and challenges. And I think that's this season, especially, that's what, it's really mostly about, actually. And, with people going through so many, especially with the COVID and everything. And, we can't just be like, oh, no, that didn't happen. I mean, it's here, And I think when people watch it, when people see, others going through something that they may relate to, or and seeing how they gone through something and then they faced it, and then now look at them, they're here, and they went through all these obstacles that they went through in life, whatever it may be. And I think it just shows just so much positive role models also. For people to look at, and like, what, and I know some people, you sit there, you watch it, if they can do that, I can do it also. Mm-hmm. And that's really what I thought too when I first started. What, they can do it, I can do it also. Like, what, I'm gonna try.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I would say, and for people who have been through challenges or obstacles, but also just like for the younger generation, right? Like, for Silas, for my son, who he sees this big thing on the screen, all these people flying through the air and doing these amazing things, and then he gets to now go and do it for himself. And so I think, yesterday when I was watching him, like a sense of pride, right? So it's also, it is kind of training up younger generations to
yes. Right? Oh, for sure. It definitely encourages, from young and old, basically. It's so encouraging. And you talk about your son. He said my oldest son has done ninja since he was 4 years old, and we have a backyard course that my husband built, and my son now, he's competed for the past 4 years, and he's gone through all over the U.S. He's won big competitions throughout the U.S. and he's great. And then, he sees my husband do it, and we've never been to the type to, we're pushing them to do something, but he sees it through our actions, and he enjoys it as much as we do, and without forcing or anything like that. And we always tell, we always encouraging them, and it's tell them, what, do whatever it is you like to do, and even if you're not great at it, it's okay. Keep continue doing it, and keep practicing, and eventually you'll aspire to be whoever you want to be, and just it's very motivating. And that's why I love the show so much. It's so motivating.
Yeah. So, okay. So one more question, then I think, Anne has another one, but so let's balance that though, right? With you're going through a hard time and you have something to focus on, you go for it. And the balance though, is that sometimes when you're going through a hard time, you have, like for you have a very intense job. The importance of also stepping back and doing things for yourself and fun things. So what does that look like for you right now? Like, as you're in a job that kind of probably, takes a lot of emotional, physical, social energy, I think. And so what are you doing to kind of balance and care for yourself right now?
Yeah, great point, because that's, I think it's so important to have some, like, have some me time, and especially women, we go through everything, taking care of families and, providing for everything, that we sometimes forget about ourselves. And I think that me time is so important. And whether it's, reading a book or going for a walk or just taking a deep breath or having a spa day, or, getting your hair done, your nails done, whatever it is that makes your body, whatever it is that makes you feel good. And for me, honestly, it's really spending that. My family and I were so close, and we spent a lot of family time together. But we were also very active, so we love to ride our bikes together. We work out together. We rock climb together. We, whatever it is, we were very outdoorsy. So we just spend a lot of time together as a family, and that's what it brings us closer together also. But that also that's for me. It's a de-stressor, I would say. It relieves my stress, working out and, spending time with them and doing it is that whatever makes you feel good. So for me, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. I also think that you're just such a great role model for your children, role model, because you're just basically showing them, this is what it looks like to have like grit and determination, as well as your mind for a strategy, and like, how are you going to overcome this obstacle, which obviously it's a physical obstacle, but then life throws you like other obstacles. But if you have like those experiences, you're like, oh, I can face this. This is okay, So then I wanted to know, like, how has being a ninja just changed how you see yourself?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too with it. And, I know I'm not the strongest, I'm not the tallest, I'm not, whatever, and I know that going into it, and it's okay. And, me coming on to the show was really also just, I wanted to be inspire other people also, that they can be whatever they want to be in life, whatever your height is, whatever your whatever it is that you have, if you have a disadvantage or not, but that you can, as long as you try, and even if you fall, and just get back up and keep going, and that's it. And that's what I really want to spread to motivate people, to inspire others that they can do whatever it is that they want to. They really set their minds to, and they can do it.
Wow.
Well, Pauline, that's so great. And I think that's, Heromakers do come in from all backgrounds and all, gender and, faith backgrounds and all sorts of things. And so, like, I love it. And I think part of it is like, for you, right? So you saw your mom, you grew up watching your mom be an ICU nurse. That impacted you. You sort of, figured out like, well, who am I, right, in all of this? And I love that what you're saying right now is you're not discrediting yourself in any way for not being somebody else, right? Because I think sometimes people tend to say, well, if I'm not this, I'm not even going to try, or I'm not going to, and so I think what we all need to do is just remember that, however we're made is good. And like, how do we embrace that, right? So Pauline, what's next for you? Like, what, are you going to travel? Are you going to is the season done taping?
It had, yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, normally, this season was a lot different just because of COVID. They actually filmed this one within, I believe, a 3-week time frame, and normally they go through 6 cities, and within like 3 months. But this one, it was filmed in one location indoors and within 3 weeks. So it's already filming in July.
Okay. So American Ninja Warrior stuff done for now. So what is the next? What's up for you next?
Well, actually, I also just received my master's degree as a nurse practitioner. I graduated in June.
What?
So that was my. That was thank you. That was a tough 3 years with that, and so I'm just really excited to graduate, and I still have to take the boards. So my next goal is passing the boards, and then from there, eventually, work as a nurse practitioner.
Good. Wow. Well, Pauline, yeah, this has been like really encouraging, and where can people find you on social media?
Yes, I have an Instagram, Pauline May 31. Okay. And you can also find me on Facebook, Pauline Avila.
Okay. And we'll link to that in the show notes as well. But Ann, any final words from you?
I just really am so glad to meet you, and I'm so glad that you exist, because you I was like a 4'10". I'm like, yes.
Oh my God, thank you so much for having me on, and it was nice meeting both of you as well.
You're welcome. Yeah, and thanks you guys for joining us for another episode of the Heromakers Podcast. I hope you guys loved this, and if you did, tell your friends and family and loved ones, and also while you're doing that, tell them that they are hero makers and that they are heroes, and that they can do anything that they set their minds to. So we'll see you guys next time.
Right.